Hello, and welcome back to the Bi-Weekly Show. I'd like to apologize for a recent leave of absence. I gave up being productive for Lent, and, well, after midterms, I sort of realized that probably wasn't such a great idea. So, I may or may not be, but probably definitely may be failing my classes. But that's beside the point. I'm back! Okay. Shut up. Shut up.
So I'm ready to go back.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
We'll just do a jump cut now.
But back to today's programming.
Good news, everyone!
That's right. I have good news. There are horrible things going on in the news, and you know what that means. We have topics to cover. Let's start out with the most discouraging news, so that, with any luck, we'll end on a high note. Earlier this week, Indiana began blazing a trail that no one wanted. They passed a religious freedom bill, which essentially allows discrimination against the LGBTQ community on the basis of upholding one's freedom of religion. Because nothing says respecting individual rights like institutionalizing hatred. Remember when a similar bill was passed in Arizona a while back? And the backlash was so horrible they reversed their decision before the law could even be enacted? Clearly, Indiana has not learned from this, which is why they are boldly moving forward with this new law. And, in accordance with this law, I would like the ability to use my religious beliefs to justify discriminating against homophobic assholes. Remember, it's not a hate crime if it's part of my religion. As a side note, I'm converting to Rastafarianism as of right now, and therefore, I demand the legalization of marijuana on the grounds of my religious freedom. So, Ted Cruz announced his bid for the 2016 presidential election, and speaking of Republican candidates, let's talk about Ben Carson calling President Obama a psychopath. Dr. Carson is a neurosurgeon, as we all know, who gained fame for successfully separating conjoined twins, and took the next logical step in his medical career by becoming a Fox News political pundit. Michael, be a dear and come on screen real quick.
Okay. Why?
Excellent. We are going to do a dramatic reading of a conversation between Ben Carson and the GQ reporter.
Okay, but why didn't I get a musical intro?
But you know why. You wrote this part of the script.
Yeah. Let me get in character. All right, let's do this. He looks good. He looks clean. Shirt's white, the tie, he looks elegant.
Thank you. Like most psychopaths, that's why they're successful. That's the way they look. They all look great. All right, thanks, Michael. Now, get the hell off my set. But that's not all. Just take a look at just a few of the other, more bold stances he's publicly declared.
Very much like Nazi Germany, and I know you're not supposed to say Nazi Germany, but I don't care about political correctness. You know, you had a government using its tools to intimidate the population. We now live in a society where people are afraid to say what they actually believe. And it's because of the PC police, it's because of politicians, it's because of news. It's all of these things are combining to stifle people's conversation. Obamacare is really, I think, the worst thing that has happened in this nation since slavery. And it is, in a way, it is slavery, in a way, because it is making all of us subservient.
While we're on the topic of batshit Republicans, how about we talk about Donald Radioactive Toupee Trump, who recently compared fixing up an old post office into a hotel to fixing the country.
I'll be honest, I'm looking at it very seriously, and what I'm doing to the old post office, somebody has to do to the country. We have to bring it back. This building was a mess, but it had tremendous potential. What I'm doing to this building in a very large way, but in many ways it's easier, The potential of our country is so great. What I'm doing here, I'm making it going to be the finest hotel in the country. We have to do that to our nation.
And actually had the audacity to say that his job is harder. That's not all. He also threw his support behind Ted Cruz, despite his birth in Canada, of all places. Does this sound like a contradiction to you? Because it does to me, and it did to the reporter also.
Well, what's the difference? You led the, you were very vocal about President Obama. How's President Obama's birth any different than,
There is no
than
difference.
Senator Ted Cruz?
Well, Obama said he was born in Hawaii. I don't know if he was, but he said he was born in Hawaii. Cruz admits that he was born in Canada. That's a big difference.
Meaning what? Not in terms
Well, he
of...
wasn't born in this country. So now the lawyers will have to figure
But both
that.
have American mothers.
It's all right.
He then, of course, went on to talk about how we need to shut down the entire U.S.-Mexico border to save Americans from those horrible Mexicans who want to steal American businesses.
And you know what people don't understand about Mexico? They are not our friends. They are taking our jobs beyond anything. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. Mexico is becoming a car capital, like the car capital of the world. They just stole a factory from Tennessee, where the factory is not going to be built in Tennessee. It's going to be built, a massive factory, automobile factory, is going to be built in Mexico and not Tennessee. That's not going to be happening with me.
And that's why, later that day, Trump announced his newest construction project, a 1,954-mile-long Trump resort that just so happens to cover the entire border. It will be the single most luxurious gated hotel and casino in the world. You'll be able to see it from space, its gold shine from space, much like the Great Wall of China, but better because he's Donald Trump. Over here is an artist's rendition of what the resort will look like. And unlike some rich property designers, the backyard will not be ignored. Let's take a look at that side. Yeah, that looks about right. Considering Trump's net worth, I wonder why he doesn't just buy all of Mexico and turn it into a resort. He could make Trumpapulco, the world's first city-sized hotel and casino, which would actually only be a small part of the greater Trumplantis Resort, which will incorporate additional properties formerly known as the West Indies. And by creating this new resort casino nation covering a percentage of the earth that is proportionally larger than the bald spot on his head, talk about overcompensating, obviously the official bird shall be the not-so-bold eagle, which I am taking that name and trademarking now so that I'll become filthy rich when Donald Trump has to pay me for his use of it. Well, now that that's all over with, I have to say that that's all the time we have for today. Please remember to like this video or subscribe to this channel after the tone. I told you we'd end on a high note.